Come on, Rose. Te extrañamos. It's been a while since you visited home for Thanksgiving. Maybe if you come, we can spend some quality time together. I heard apple picking's very trendy.
I'm swamped, Violeta. I can't just drop everything and leave for PA.
That's what you said last year.
Precisamente, I have a life.
You keep coming up with the same excuses. Lie better.
I've always been bad at lying, haven't I?
Just bad enough for me to know when you're not telling the truth. What are you busy with anyway? What does a college student have to do during the holidays other than coming home to see her family? Explicate.
Internships, jobs, finding a source of income. You know the drill.
What sort of internship or job has you starting a shift at 10 p.m.?
Rose stops at the right corner of the Odyssey, her job.
Can we talk about this later, por favor? I really don't feel like doing this. You know I'm not showing up if Diego is there, let alone Bruno. Violet, please just leave me alone.
What happened, Rose? Why are you so upset with Dad and Uncle Diego? Mommy has spoken to them 1,000 times and they don't know why you're upset with them. Did he do something to you by any chance? You know you can talk to me. For someone so bad at lying and keeping secrets, you seem to be holding on to this like you're about to fall off a bridge. Holding on to that handle before the water swallows you whole. But I won't push you further into the abyss. Just a heads up though, Dad's out to New York. They transferred him for a case in the precinct there, so maybe you can...
Rose hangs up, throwing her cell phone to the depths of her bag. She brushes her face and takes a deep breath. She crosses the street and is quickly welcomed by the shouts of an old woman who sits at a distance from the club. Rose leaves her food before clocking into work. Tonight, she's leaving behind a ham and cheese sandwich.
Silly, you men, so very adept at wrongly faulting womankind. Not seeing you're alone to blame for faults you plant in a woman's mind.
Good evening, Mrs. Inez. Following your usual routine, I see.
After you've won by urgent plea the right to tarnish her good name, you still expect her to behave. You that coaxed her into shame.
An ugly truth indeed. The world has punched and dragged me into the dirt so many times. I can only imagine what it's done to you.
In the dressing room, Rose finishes the final touch-ups to her dress for the night. It's emerald green, and her friend Isabel helps her with the makeup. She pats the brushes against her eyelids like paint going on a canvas.
So, you doing anything for Thanksgiving this year?
Not sure. My sister keeps bugging me about coming home, but I'm not in the mood to show up, especially if my dad and uncle are present.
Why is that?
It's complicated.
They don't know you're stripping, do they?
Amongst other things. Besides, I don't think my parents would really understand that I'm here because I like it.
Aren't you a little minx?
Maybe. No, but seriously, I mean, I know why I'm here and what I do it for. Nobody's forcing me to be here. I make that choice, always. Even when the business isn't as safe as we'd like it to be.
I can understand that. It's weird, isn't it? The world is angry at women like you and me. It profits off our bodies, and the moment we do it, someone's a whore. Anyway, If you decide not to celebrate Thanksgiving, I suggest you do extra hours with me. Men are lonely this time of year, and they'll throw bills at you for the sight of your ankles sometimes.
Ladies, you ready for tonight?
Perhaps you should give us a speech for motivation.
You got it, boss. You know, we got to figure out our first private room for the night. And it's for Rose.
What? But I got all these dances to complete.
I know, but you got the entire night to do those. This man is willing to pay an astonishing amount of green for a release of steam. All you got to do is dance a little here and there, and boom! Just remember, you can always let the guards outside know what's up if he gets out of hand, right?
Rose makes her way out of the dressing room towards the VIP rooms. She walks along the hallway until she finds the door and enters. The room's lights are dim. She can see the man is already seated on the couch. Although Rose can't see his face, she recognizes his voice as he speaks on the phone.
Sí, mi reina. I just landed about an hour ago. I'm at the hotel getting ready for bed. Yeah, I got lots of work tomorrow. Yes, of course. I'll reach out to Rose. I'll try to make amends. Hopefully she doesn't crucify me too hard. Amor, I'm going to call you back. Yes, I'll call you back.
Please tell me this isn't true.
What the hell is going on here? Rose, why are you here? Do you work here?
Without a second thought, Rose runs out of the room. She makes sure it's far enough for Bruno to lose sight of her, but he finds her at the entrance. Bruno drags Rose outside of the club. It's drizzling. Thunder shouts from the skies as they walk farther into the street. Rose winces at the tightness of her father's grip and quickly breaks free.
It's your persistent entreaties that change her from timid to bold. Having made her thereby naughty, you would have had her good as gold.
So this is why you've been avoiding me this entire time? All this talk about studying too hard and working for money. Meanwhile, all you're doing is selling yourself off to strangers like a slut?
What a surprise. You are one of those strangers.
So where does the greater guilt lie? For a passion that should not lie, with the man who pleads out of baseness, or the woman disbased by his plea?
Don't get smart with me, Rosalinda. Do you know how this makes me look? A tu familia.
My body doesn't define you or anyone else. God damn it, Dad. You come in and accuse me of being a slut, but don't stop to think about the fact that you are a married man in a strip club?
Or which is more to be blamed, though both will have cause for chagrin? The woman who sins for money, or the man who pays money to sin?
Your mother and I barely see one another anymore. We're too busy working. And a man has needs. I should be awarded $1,000 for everything that I do.
For what? For having basic human decency?
You want to talk about human decency when you turn into this? You disappoint me, Rose. All that crying that one time because Diego made a mistake. Tu tío, tu familia. And you sell yourself short like this. It's like you're asking for things to happen all over again.
That's not fair.
You're not fair to me. I'm your family. I come here distressed to take my mind off things, and I find that my daughter has turned into a whore for money.
You speak as if you're not to blame.
So why are all you men all so stunned at the thought you're all guilty alike? Either like them for what you've made them, or make of them something you can like.
Now wait a minute.
No! I was your little rag doll once. taking every hit and pull against the floor, being used by your brother, and you knew. You begged me not to tell Mom because it was all a mistake. Yet he continued to touch me again and again.
Rose?
I felt broken for so long, alone and afraid. I felt like the world was swallowing me whole. And that's all on you. It took me way too long to get comfortable in my skin. And now that I do, you don't get to call me a whore. You don't get to judge the decisions I make to put myself back together again.
Mi amor, please, understand. He's my family. My brother.
And I was your daughter.
Please. Just don't tell your mother. Let me talk to her first.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll make your wishes come true and finally come home for Thanksgiving. And I'll sing. I'll sing like a bird early in the morning, sing so loud I can't move my lips or my tongue, shout and scream until my lungs give out and my voice is no longer. I'm not your little rag doll anymore.
If you'd give up pursuing them, you'd discover, without a doubt, you have a stronger case to make against those who seek you out.
Shut the hell up, lady.
I well know what powerful arms you wield in pressing for evil. Your arrogance is allied with the world, the flesh, and the devil.
Snow is sticking to the ground on Thanksgiving night. Rose arrives at what used to be her home in York, Pennsylvania. Rose didn't see Diego up until now, who's now walking to her side as she looks at the Christmas tree already up in the living room.
Well, if it isn't mi sobrina hermosa. You look well.
As well as can be expected.
How's school?
Let's cut to the chase and say what you need to tell me. I have no interest in speaking with you.
It hurts me to hear you treat me this way. I'm your Tio. I care so much about you. Right. Well, I just wanted to apologize for what happened a long time ago. You shouldn't hate your father for it. He was just trying to protect me. Besides, you were such a beautiful girl. You would do well in forgetting it ever happened. You'd do everyone a favor. You're a stripper, after all.
Tio, Abuela is asking for you. Maybe you should go and talk to her. I'm very sorry.
What are you sorry for?
Pretending like our father was a good person.
You know?
I know.
How?
I heard them arguing once. Diego was worried about you making it very clear you wanted nothing to do with him. He was afraid Mom would start asking too many questions, and it was the confirmation that I needed. And yet, I felt frozen. These two men are, well, were my family? And yet our father is a policeman who didn't do anything about this situation. I'm just sorry I didn't reach out when I needed to. That man, well, he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. I'm sorry you had to endure that.
Why didn't you tell Mom?
I figured you had to be the one to do it. This is probably stupid for me to ask, but how are you feeling?
You know, I like to think that New York was right for me. I just shoved everything inside that rug and forgot it ever happened. But there was always a small relapse, a nightmare, and then
All of a sudden, I felt anger and rage. I'm angry that I had to lie to our mother and that I had to stay quiet and swallow the pain while they're still here acting like nothing ever happened. I am so angry, Violet. And I feel it all bottled up in my throat like a time bomb ticking and until I scream and let everything out. Then I'll help you. We'll tell Mom after dinner and you'll scream as long as you need to.
Violet and Rose meet everyone in the kitchen. Dahlia and Bruno help with the food. Diego sits at the kitchen counter next to Lily. Violet and Rose remain seated next to one another, holding hands.
Bruno, mi amor, tell us about your trip to the city. You never told me if you got together with Rose throughout your stay. Although, I am glad you worked out your issues.
Well, yes, we saw each other once. We were very busy with work. Isn't that right, mija?
See, very busy. I wish I would have been there.
Busy or not, I'm so glad you get to be here this year, mi amor. You see, la sangre pesa más que el agua. When push comes to shove, family is family. Oh, mi niño. So grown with a family on his shoulders, a stable career. Your father would be so proud. Especially with you, Diego. You do so well with those kids.
Mommy, I heard your article is getting picked for the magazine issue this month.
Oh, yes. So Ruana Inez is quite the writer herself. I'm glad I found her when I did.
Ruana Inez?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here we go.
Don't be rude, mijo.
No, I know what she's gonna say. It's all she's spoken of these months. After she found out about that godforsaken writer. Men suck. We get it.
Por Dios! It's much more than that. She speaks about the hypocrisy of society in her poems. Strippers, for example. Clubs wouldn't exist if men didn't pay to watch and sexualize women's bodies.
Strippers, they're just asking to get raped.
What about kids?
What?
Kids. You think they walk around asking to be raped or abused?
Rosalinda.
No, I want to know. Did I ask for it when you repeatedly locked yourself in the basement with me while I played with my dolls? Or when I needed help with my homework and you touched me? Or when I was in pain and I screamed stop so many times? Was I asking for it then?
Tell me this isn't true. Bruna, did you know about this?
I can explain.
You silenced her, didn't you? The same way you did to me not long ago.
I'm sorry.
Get the hell out of my house! Ahora!
He's my brother.
Rose es tu hija! And she suffered all those years because of you. And that denial probably hurt a lot more people than just her. You better get yourself a goddamn lawyer now. Get out of my house!
Bruno and Diego leave the house. Violet leaves to give her grandmother a ride home. Dahlia turns off the food cooking in the kitchen. With her daughter, she moves to the front steps of the porch and watches the snow stick to the ground.
I'm sorry that happened to you, Mom.
It was a long time ago. Before you girls were born. One of your father's friends tried to rape me, and your father saw, and yet somehow convinced me that it was an accident. Convinced me it wasn't worth taking to the police because no one would believe me. He silenced me, and I despise him for it. I can't imagine what you must have felt all this time. Perdóname, I wasn't there for you, mi vida.
You're here now. I'm sorry I waited like a coward to tell you.
You were no coward. What you did tonight was powerful and brave. Everyone heals differently in these circumstances. I am proud of you.
Since the truth is out, I feel like it's important to tell you this before Bruno does. I strip.
Good for you. How much do you make in a day?
1 to 2K on a good day.
As long as it pays the bills.
All right. Now that the cat is out of the bag, what are we going to do with it?
We take it to the authorities.
I don't think I want to do that though.
¿Y por qué?
Bruno's a cop.
She's right. What are the odds the police will take a case into account when it happened years ago? Especialmente if he's a cop. He might be able to cover everything up.
Diego hurt his own niece. If he can do that, what makes us so sure he hasn't harmed anyone else? Perhaps I can get an article published. If reporting doesn't work, that is, if Rose is comfortable with me doing so.
I've been silenced long enough.